What's up, everybody? Steven here from Off the Shelf Movie Night to talk to you about physical media, about Blu-rays and 4Ks, and the way we like to own our movies and TV shows, not rent them in perpetuity. If you're new to the channel, please join the conversation. That's why this exists. This whole thing is even happening. It's just so that I can meet and chat with other movie collectors that are out there trying to, traverse this world of boutique Blu-ray distributors and closing studios and everything that's happening in physical media. It is middle of 2021 and time for me to start my yearly complete collection update. I'm redoing the space back here, making room for more purchases because 2020 and so far into 2021 have been probably my biggest buying years or time periods to date. I've just bought so much. There's so many cool things coming out. And there's a lot of stuff on the horizon. I have so many pre-orders of things that are on the way. So let's jump into this. It'll be up to date for not long because like I said, I'm buying so much. But at least here you'll have an idea of what my collection is, kind of how I curate, that kind of thing. And if you see something that you think is missing in my collection that would really be great to add, let me know. Let me know, because I love to learn about new titles. And today we're going to do the Arrow Video set, which probably should be the grand finale of this for a lot of people. Because Arrow Video really is sort of the boutique distributor to beat. There's some other equally good ones that just don't have the catalog that Arrow has. Indicator, I would say, is probably about as good as Arrow. But Arrow is, has a variety of releases globally. Indicator does not. You have to be, region B for them. So anyway, let's get into my Arrow Video collection. If you like this kind of stuff, give me a sub. If you like this video, share it and like it. It would mean so much to me to do so, for you to do so. But also, let's talk in the conversation below. All right? So I'm going to go through these kind of quick because there's a good stack of them. We're going to start with regular releases. Then we're going to go into slipcover releases and special editions. Here we go. First up is FM. FM, not a movie I guess you would expect in my collection. Looks like an album there. That's really cool. So it's a story of an FM radio station in the 1970s that is kind of doing battle with its ownership because they're taking money spend from the military, buying ads and that kind of thing, and these DJs are very anti-military. This film is one of those epic soundtracks too. They have a lot of great music from that era, and they use it well in the film. It's sort of a drama, comedy mix. Good movie if you haven't seen it. Alright, so now we have Torso. This is a great Italian horror film. I did flip the artwork. You'll notice that art there. It's the disc on the inside. Let me see if I can give you a look at the artwork. Yeah, there's the classic artwork. I just really liked kind of like the more exotic look and feel. And then, of course, there's a booklet here. This is a surprisingly gory in places film. This is not your typical. This is not your like light-hearted giallo situation. It's much gorier than expected. All right, so now we're coming to two films that I keep thinking are going to get replaced soon, and that is Hellraiser. There's a shot of the back and the inside. Reversible artwork, of course. There. Hellraiser, and of course, Hellraiser Part 2. And again, on this one we've got reversible artwork too. I keep thinking these are going to get replaced because I know, at least for Hellraiser, the first one, there is a 4K scan. I believe that 4K scan was done by Turbine, which is a German company. I haven't bought any Turbine stuff because I find their stuff to be a little pricey and also very limited. So you have to jump in quick. So I don't know if that scan is going to get bought and issued by Arrow. I feel like it just feels like that's a movie franchise that is destined for a 4K redo. Here we have Creepshow 2. Creepshow 2, if you don't know it, I bet you do. I mean, this is kind of like a mainstay of Arrow video collections. It's an anthology series of short films from the likes of Stephen King and George Romero. First one is, quality-wise, the first one might be better, but I enjoy Creepshow 1 and 2. Creepshow 1 is on my need-to-buy list from Shout Factory, but I guess maybe it's because it's from Shout Factory they haven't done it yet. I really would love to see a box set of these two together. And I wanted this special edition of this for a long time, but I'm not willing to spend the money. So here we have Takeshi Miike's Audition. One of his best films ever. Japanese auteur. He does a lot of Yakuza films. For every good horror film he does, he'll do a handful of okay Yakuza films. I feel like that's how he pays for his good horror stuff, though, is by doing the Yakuza stuff. So yeah, so basically this is a media producer who's looking for a girlfriend, and he decides to actually audition girls, and he makes a bad decision. So there you go, Audition, really good. I've had this movie a few times. Audition I had a few times too, actually, but Bloody Birthday here. This is a really good edition of it, though. I would say this is probably the last edition, I would say. It has a little booklet in it, which is real cool. I did do an unboxing with this when I got it. There's the original artwork, and I had a standard release with that artwork. I'm trying to think of who it might have been. It was either like Severin or Mondo Macabro, someone like that had previously put this movie out. But this is a great transfer. Really fun sort of slasher film. All right, The Crazies. This is George Romero's sort of continued social commentary through horror. And this is my second favorite Romero film. There's the original artwork. Dawn of the Dead is my favorite. And no, Night of the Living Dead is not in my top two. It's just not. It's my third favorite of his. This is my second. Actually, Night of the Living Dead may be like further down. There's some other things he has that I really like, but these two are always at the top. Dawn of the Dead and The Crazies. And The Crazies is more of a, not a zombie film. It's more of a tale of pollution. Really great social commentary, humorous, scary, gory, fun, really classic George Romero. All right, we continue moving into some really classic 70s and 80s here with The Invitation. This one was bought toward the end of last year, I think, as part of one of the sales. Very cool. I love the internal art. I may end up flipping that artwork, to be honest with you. That's really cool. This is one of my longest owned Arrow releases. I got this movie, We Are the Flesh. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I think you should just find this movie, add it to your collection. It was sent to me for review, actually. And yeah, I've had this for a really long time. Let me just pull this book out. I think this is, see if I can find a page for you to see here. Something cool. I mean, cool little booklet. This is, yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, just get on there and buy it. This is one of the cheaper Arrow releases now because it's been out for so long. Just get it. All right. Okay, so Dead End Drive-In. This is a post-apocalyptic drive-in, basically. And this I'll be honest with you, this was a cold buy also. And this movie is on the bubble. I bought it, watched it, and just thought, it's not that good. It's kind of just okay. So I gotta watch it again and make a determination if it's gonna stay in the collection. If it's something that I'm gonna be rewatching over and over again, because it's okay, you know, it's all right. Didn't love it that much. It's one of my favorite Dario Argento films, Deep Red. This is let me see if I can show you the other artwork. Haven't decided to flip that yet. I guess I'm just kind of tired of that artwork because I've owned this movie a few different times. It may have been Anchor Bay that put the previous DVD out that I had. So I'm just kind of living with this artwork for a while because I've seen the original so much. I've owned that movie a few times previously. So Deep Red is a giallo film, Dario Argento. That should be enough. My favorite thing about this film, though, is the methods that he uses to kill people. Is he wanted each death to be something that you could literally relate to. So let's say he would kill somebody in a way that you've probably actually hurt yourself before, except take it to the extreme. So you can literally feel, to some degree, some of these murders happen, and it's intense. Very, very good film. Society. There's a pretty cool steelbook of this one out, but I just prefer, honestly, the regular Arrow releases on this. So this is a little bit of a slow burner. Got 2 discs in there. All I want to say to you about this is a lot of social commentary. This is the original art, and what's on the steelbook is it's worth it for the last chapter. Stay with it, watch it, then tell me, because this is an experience. This is a movie I don't watch all the time, but this is something fun to share with people who I'll watch with them when they haven't. I know they haven't seen it. It's fun to watch with people. Let me just get a little coffee here. Okay. All right. Now we have Deadbeat by Dawn. Again, this is another movie that I got. And I'm still trying to make a determination on if it was a cold buy. I'm trying to make a determination if it's going to stay in the collection. Because it's okay, this movie. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but there's some real metal moments in it. I mean, there's some really great moments in this film that, yeah, you just got to see it. I just don't know if those moments are enough for me to be constantly rewatching the film. I don't know. It is on the bubble, though. It's one I've been thinking a lot about. All right, this was a very recent buy. I think I unboxed this, I don't know, a month ago for you guys. This is Dark Water. This is an older release from them. There's a DVD and a Blu here. This was remade with Jennifer Connelly, by the way, Dark Water. It's an early 2000s J-horror film, a haunted apartment building with black water in it. It's creepy, scary, it's very effective. This is one of the better spooky ghost movies from Japan in the early 2000s. All right, here we have Climax. It's a Gaspar Noé film. This is a simple story. This was recently purchased also. There's the original artwork. If you don't know this director, you should get to know him. His stuff is very knife's edge kind of stuff, but not cringy. It's effective. This is a simple story. It follows a dance troupe celebrating a really amazing show, which, by the way, an opening dance number that's beautifully shot. And they're having a celebration, and the camera just sort of floats the way his camera does through the crowd, and you get to know the people through their conversation. And then you discover that someone has put a crap ton of, I think, LSD in the sangria that they're all drinking. So then the night begins to change, and what happens is intense. I saw this in the theater, and I'm not one who's like physically affected very often, but I almost wanted to throw up. All right, this is the Dead or Alive trilogy. This is from, again, Takeshi Miike. Annoying on this one is annoying because it's only on 2 discs. You've got the first movie, then the other 2 are on the second disc. But it really is about the first movie. These are these answer a question, and the question is, what would a film franchise be like if Miike took his expertise at doing Yakuza films and melded it with his artistic horror? Yeah, there's some crazy shit in these movies. The first movie has one of my favorite all-time endings of any movie. You need to watch these. The opening 10 minutes of the first movie also cut. It feels like a Quentin Tarantino film. The way it's cut to music and so forth. Really cool movie franchise. Children of the Corn. This is another one that I'm scared of. I feel like, well, I'm not scared of, that's not the right term, but concerned that it's on the, there's the inside. It's on the short list of movies that are going to get a 4K presentation. And done well, this would look beautiful in 4K. The HDR with all the sepia that's supposed to happen here, as long as it's not too heavily done, could be really cool. This has Linda Hamilton in it. Her and her husband are traveling, and they end up in a town ran by children who've been affected by he who walks behind the rose. Very scary, fun movie. Also funny at times, too. Okay, so now we have Eaten Alive here. This is Tobe Hooper film. Again, we have the DVD in the blue. It's an older release from Arrow. There's the original artwork for you. So this movie has to do with a killer, kind of a killer crocodile, I think. I love this movie, but I love this movie for the look of it. There's a certain style and look to this movie, and I'm going to say that a few times for certain movies in my collection that you just can't replicate. Maybe you heard that in the background. I'm not sure what's happening. For better or worse, though, this has a look of being shot on a soundstage. Like the entire house that this is set in and around. It just feels like soundstagey, which I know that sounds bad, and it really kind of is, but there's just a vibe to this movie that just is remarkable. All right, Rage of Honor. This is a action film starring Sho Kosugi. I'm going to be honest with you about this one. I don't love this one much. I bought this movie for a very specific reason. I'm going to show you right now. Because a movie that I do love with Sho Kosugi, also put out by Arrow Video, is Pray for Death. So, Pray for Death is your typical 80s era canon group kind of. There's a little booklet in here and posters, pretty cool. Anyway, basically you've got a Japanese family that had to move, or didn't have to move, but moved to the United States for prosperity, to open a business and, you know, just look for a better life. And they get mixed up with gangs, and it ends up becoming a revenge thing where Sho Kosugi's character has to turn himself back over to his darker abilities as a ninja. So, really good movie. Revenge of the Ninja, I think, is his best, but this one's really good. Blind Fury, also very good. Different kind of ninja thing, but still that. This one is more of an action movie, and it's okay, but the reason I bought this one is because there's a very long interview with Sho Kosugi, and I love Sho Kosugi. Revenge of the Ninja is one of my favorite films from my childhood, and I wanted the entire interview. Half of it is on each movie. So this is really owned for the bonus features. Straight up. Alright. We're going to have some 4Ks kind of splattered in here. Maybe I'll try and put those together for now. Yeah. Alright. So, I'm not going to attempt to say that, except to tell you that this is Kill or None. I have always kind of enjoyed the Spanish and Italian nunsploitation films. This has a nice booklet inside. Let me see if there's a picture, since I pulled it out, that I can show you. There's something here. I mean, usually these are social commentaries on religion, which I find interesting always. And they're also, you know, exploitation films too. And this is one of the better executed ones of that subgenre of grindhouse film. I'll call it horror film because it's less of a horror film and more of an exploitation thriller type of thing. But this has its own gore in it and its own crazy ass story and that kind of thing. Yeah, Kill a Nun is one of the best of that subgenre. I just ordered one from Vinegar Syndrome that I've had before, and you'll see that one in an unboxing coming forward. All right, so this one was, this is a crazy movie called The Witch from the Sea. This is an old, or The Witch Who Came from the Sea. This is an older, really older Arrow Video release. Still in the blue box, which I hate. I think I'm going to buy a clear box and upgrade it. I wish they would upgrade it. And there's the original packaging. I've had this movie again before. Literally, a witch comes, you know, a woman. It is a way a woman deals with an assault. She kind of calls a witch from the sea and takes out revenge on people. It's a very entertaining movie, kind of twisted and surreal. Yeah, I got to get a clear box. All right, let's look at CHUD. Do you know what this stands for? I do. Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller. CHUD. This is another older release. These were purchased very inexpensively, these blue box ones, as part of an Arrow Video sale. I mean, it may have only even been $10 or something. This is an 80s movie that played sort of on the sort of the urban legend of people getting baby alligators and tossing them down the drain of their toilet or whatever, and one of them ends up being affected by the toxic ooze or whatever, and we have a giant monster under the city killing people. This is very fun, very sort of 80s retro fun. Again, gonna need a white box for that. All right, let's do a couple of 4Ks before we go into slips. These are new buys. Just saw me unbox this one, Escape from New York. It has Christopher Walken in it. He plays a gangster who gets out of prison. I didn't look for the reversible art, I think, when I unboxed this one. Yeah, there it is. There is reversible art. So he plays a gangster. He comes out of prison and he seeks to right some wrongs and, you know, reassert himself in the underworld. This is a very good movie. I can't believe we haven't had a premium, like, good release of it here in the United States, but there you go. Had to import that one. All right, Crash. This is a David Cronenberg film. There is a Criterion release, but I preferred this one, because the Criterion is not 4K, this one is, and they both have solid bonus features. This, by the way, has a promo card for Tale of Two Sisters, which is a great movie. I can't wait for that one to come from Arrow. Let's see. Yeah, there's the original artwork. So Crash is a really twisted movie. You know, this is an era of time, and I don't know if he ever honestly left it, but it is an era of time when Cronenberg was sort of experimenting with commentary about sexuality, really. And this follows a couple trying to rekindle something in their relationship, and they end up having sex at very brutal car crashes. It's twisted and grotesque and vile and fascinating. Must watch. All right, let's look at some slipcover cases. This is a very long video. I know, much longer for me than normal, but here we go. All right, now we have The Last Starfighter. I love these slipcases, by the way. I don't love this hole right here, and I also don't love the pricing sometimes, because sometimes on the internet it's hard to tell if it's a slipcase or a special edition. So inside, you'll see that I have flipped the artwork. This is an 80s era. This is a mid-80s movie about a kid who's a really great video game player who doesn't realize playing this particular video game is actually, there's a book in here too, is actually a test to see if he's the right pilot to save the universe. It's really campy. Really campy. But what is really cool about this is the stuff that happens on Earth feels like John Hughes or early Steven Spielberg, that kind of thing. The world is really immersive. It really does feel like a place where people live. And for that, it makes this movie better than it probably actually is. Alright. This is a movie, I don't understand why this doesn't get more attention. It's called Ronin. It's an action movie about a killer. It has Robert De Niro and Jean Reno in it. Sort of a spy thriller kind of thing. It's a very good movie. Got a book in here. Very stylized film. It's one of those things, and I don't understand the artwork. It's not that much different. People who know it like it. Just a lot of people don't know it, and I think when this came out to the theater, it was maybe a little too long, because it is a long movie, and it just didn't connect with people. But this is a great movie. You can find this for $15 all the time from Arrow. All right, Alice, Sweet Alice, the late '70s era slasher film. There's the original artwork. I've had this before, maybe from Anchor Bay also. Got a book in here. This movie, this little slasher film is most notable because, outside of it just being a well-done slasher film, because it is an early Brooke Shields film. She is in this, if you know who Brooke Shields is. She was in The Blue Lagoon and other things through the 80s. Very fun slasher movie. Alright, we're back to Mikey again. I love Mikey. You're going to see a lot of, you know, Mikey, Argento, and John Carpenter are people you'll see throughout my collection a lot. And this is the One Missed Call trilogy. So the challenge, wait, let me show you the back of that slip. The challenge with a story like this is to make technology scary. It just doesn't work most of the time. And Mikey, though, did find a way to do it, especially in the first film. And again, we have a situation where we have the first film and then the other two are on a single disc, I think. Is that right? Yep, thought so. Couldn't remember. Original artwork. He does it with a cell phone here, and it actually works, which is amazing because really can't think of it working anywhere else. A lot of these things where things like Unfriended or whatever, where they try to make the internet scary and whatever, it just doesn't work. All right, 12 Monkeys. Another great slip here. And I flipped it to the original artwork. This has Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis. Got a great little booklet here. I know I'm not pulling all the books out, just grabbing a few here and there. Bruce Willis is in a dystopian future, and he must travel back in time to try and right the wrongs of his past, or our planet's past, in order to try and save it. And he ends up being entangled with Brad Pitt, who may or may not be crazy. And Madeline Stowe is in this also. This is a very cool movie. Very, very cool movie. One of Brad Pitt's standout performances early in his career that just defined him as more than just, you know, a face. Get that one. All right, here we go. This is a funny one to watch. Now, this is 16 Candles. This is a Molly Ringwald film. There's the back. And there's the original artwork. As a kid, I used to look at these old Molly Ringwald movies, and I really liked them. She always played such a relatable character. Culturally, this movie is a little bit challenging now. It's funny in parts, but also it's cringe. This movie is quite cringy in parts because you have to deal with some very touchy cultural stereotypes, and you also have to deal with essentially one character has sex with another character while she's drunk. So, I mean, is it date rape? Yeah, kinda. but they make it okay in this movie? Yeah, they kind of do. So it's a little cringy. But you got to remember, and the way I look at these is it's the era in which it was made. Our cultural norms were a little different back then, for better or for worse. All right, basket case. This is out in a couple different companies that put out versions of this. This is the Arrow one. This is a very early purchase for me also. Flipped it to the original artwork. Two brothers. It's the story of two brothers, and one of them lives in a basket, and he is scary, and he tends to kill people. It's a little monster, creature feature kind of film with very lo-fi storytelling and some lo-fi effects, but overall a very fun, scary movie. Highly recommended. And there are more of these. I'm not sure how many there are in the franchise. I know there's at least 3 that I'm aware of. All right, let's move to special editions, and then we'll be done. Let me get another drink here. I'm starting to. There we go. All right, special editions. My pride and joy here. I love these sets. Last House on the Left. Passing the tap test for sure. Quickly on the inside, we have an amazing perfect bound book with a ton of great screenshots and write-ups about this film. This is my favorite Wes Craven film. Yes, my favorite, more so than Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie terrified me when I saw it the first time, and it still disturbs the shit out of me every time I watch it, especially this uncut version. I flip to the original art because that is so effective. I mean, it's probably this effective because of the era. This would be standard artwork back then, but now it's like very effective. And you've got a DVD and a Blu-ray in here. Last House on the Left just simply tells a story of a couple of girls who want to go out for a fun night, and they encounter a family, quote unquote family, when they're just trying to buy some pot, that ends up forcing them back home into a home invasion. This is not for the faint of heart. Very tough movie to watch. There are sexual situations in here, and it's not perfect though. There's some comedy relief in here once or twice that is very cringy and doesn't work. Mostly related to a kazoo, okay? But when it works, when this movie is kicking, firing on all cylinders, you couldn't make this movie now. There is a remake that's pretty good. It's a fun movie, but it doesn't hold a candle to this one in its intensity. Okay, and we have Arrow's first big 4K here. Everyone thought Arrow did this 4K, and they did not. Studio Canal did the scan. Arrow got the distribution rights, and that is for Flash Gordon. It's an early 80s film about a football player, a scientist, a group, basically, who have to save the world. I got a poster in here. I'm not going to unfold that. Another perfect bound book. I love these matte finish perfect bound books from Arrow. They always have such good write-ups in it, and it's really cool to have all the screenshots from the movie. There's Ming the Merciless right there for you, big bad guy. If you don't know about this film, you should get it. The 4K is quite good. The audio is good here, and the audio is important because the soundtrack for this movie was done by Queen. I mean, for no other reason you need to watch it. You need to watch it for that, because it really works. It elevates this really campy movie into something more. It's very 1920s serial, 1940s serial type of thing, sci-fi, really campy sci-fi. Very, very fun. Okay. All right, back to Wes Craven here. This is a smaller edition than like if we look at Last House on the Left. They're close to the same size. For some reason, this one just... Oh, I'm dropping stuff here. This one just feels smaller, but it is The Hills Have Eyes. So The Hills Have Eyes. This has E.T.'s mama in it. A family is driving across the desert on a trip, and their vehicle breaks down, and they get stuck, and a bunch of cannibals try to kill them and eat them. Again, super, super intense, very scary. Not scary, like jump scary as much, but just disturbing as all shit. It's just disturbing as hell in some parts. Very effective movie. Again, you know, typical of Wes Craven in that era. You know, oh, by the way, another tap test success there. Some of the comedy relief is a little bit too much. But overall, a very effective movie. And why have I not flipped this artwork? Yeah. Typical for me is if I have multiple artworks, I want to see them all, and this is the original artwork. I don't know why I hadn't flipped that. Because the artwork that's on the front of this is the same as the slipcover of the box. So, you know, if that's going to be the case, then we may as well flip it so we can see all the art. Because if I can do this without tearing anything up, I'm very specific about this, as I'm sure you are too. I know I'm not alone in this. And this artwork is very 1980s, 90s video store artwork, which is cool. And this has art cards with it too, by the way. But we've done on this channel, if you go to my channel and you do a search for this movie, you'll see that I've done an in-depth unboxing. See, now I'm freaking out because I got to make sure that this artwork is in properly, because it literally has not been flipped. I know this is riveting video to watch, but I also know you get it. You guys get it. You get me. At least in that respect, you get me. All right, so if you haven't seen The Hills Have Eyes, you need to see it. There was a sequel done, and Arrow did do a special edition, a matching special edition, but I just, you know, the completist in me kind of wanted it, and if I saw it for cheap, I'd probably still buy it just for the extras. But that movie is awful, and I think even up till he died, Wes Craven also said the movie was awful. He didn't want to do it. It was just that The Hills Have Eyes, this movie, had so much success that the studio wanted an additional film. So, what quality can I give the original or that sequel? Maybe it had the best dog flashback of all time. Yeah, that's right. There was literally a dog flashback. All right, so now we have, this is an interesting one. This is Tremors. Now, you really can't tell from the box unless you look closely, but this is the Tremors Blu-ray set. We had a whole discussion about this, you may remember. Yeah, so let me just show you. Well, let me just show it to you properly, and I'll remind you of what we talked about. Definitely another solid release. We got a cool poster. A couple of posters here. Really cool Perfect Bound book again in this one. And of course the screen caps on the inside has Kevin Bacon, Reba McEntire. Really cheesy, fun creature feature. So I bought this film. I gotta look at that artwork also. It has art cards and stuff in it. I bought this film as the Blu-ray. There. And I think I'm making a mistake in my... Got the Blu-ray and the DVD. I got it at a very good price, and I bought that one instead of the 4K because inside this package also is a 4K screener that I was sent for review. So I didn't want to have to buy the 4K since I have the screener here. And the extras were all the same. So on the inside of this, see these black cases, I never think to flip the artwork because it's a black case, but look at that. That's the original video store artwork right there. That's the artwork a lot of us grew up with. So if you haven't seen it, this is very campy and silly and fun. There's a series of these, but Kevin Bacon and Reba leave the franchise, and to me it suffers. Hadn't really cared about it other than this first one, to be honest with you, because of that. I don't know that Reba McEntire is known as some auteur of an actress, but she was very fun in this particular film. Wow, I hate... You guys, I love having reversible artwork, and I love being able to reverse it. I hate the process of flipping it. You know what I mean? Because it just makes me crazy. Because I don't want to mess up the art. Getting a low battery warning there, because we've been going for a long time. But is anybody else kind of as anal retentive about this as I am, or is it just me? All right. All right, we're almost done though. We're right at the end here. All right, Tremors. Very fun. I got to pick this up because I'm getting a low battery warning. All right, so this is a very recent buy. You saw me unbox this. This is the Demons 1 and 2, the Bava set. I don't like this split. Pulling it off the shelf, it always falls apart. I do like the artwork a lot though. And this is one of two sets that I have that not only get a perfect bound book, but it's a hardback book. It's a very, very gorgeous book with good write-ups, screenshots, the whole thing. This has a reversible poster. I don't care for this digipack design, though. This feels really kind of flimsy and cheap. We get promotion for True Romance there. That is pre-ordered by moi. We get a ticket to the theater. This film, the first film, is about a bunch of people that go to see a free screening of a horror movie, and what happens on screen starts to happen in reality. And that continues over into an apartment into the second film, which is okay. Second film's okay. First film is a classic. And there they are. Obviously no reversible artwork here because this is a digipack. It's a very fun movie, and they provide it, you know, with its original language soundtrack, but I recommend, this is one of the few times that I'm going to recommend the dub, because the dub is quite hilarious, and it is the way I saw it the first time. There are some really funny moments in the dub. Alright, there you go. And now for the last movie in my Arrow collection, or the last set. And this is a set I chased after for a long time before I finally got it at a price that didn't kill me. And this is House, the 2 Stories collection. You can buy this set in these movies individually. And there's a third one also. I don't really care for the third one though. But I just really liked this collection for a couple of reasons. The first one being another one with an incredible hardback book with a ton of writing. Look how thick this book is. This is one of the thicker Arrow books out there, encompassing them. And some of my favorite stuff in here is to be able to look back at all the international posters for the films. Very good book here. Outside of that, we have the 2 standard releases. I haven't flipped these yet because, again, all right. So let's just take a look while I'm talking. Okay, I'm losing my train of thought here. There's House 1, back. This is Robert Cat. His last name's Cat. I think his first name's. I think his first name. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. He's the greatest American hero. If you're familiar with that TV show, is in this film. George Wendt is in this film. My phone keeps going off. George Wendt is in this film. From Cheers, he's the nosy neighbor. There's the original artwork that we all know. Robert Mole is in it, who is Bull on Night Court. So it's a lot of TV people here. William Cat. He so he moves into, this is I think his grandmother's house. Moves in there to like close out her estate and to do some writing, kind of reset his life. But his grandmother always believed the house was haunted, and he finds out the truth by moving into the house. And the next level, second level, or the second story, sorry, continues the story with a whole new cast. Second one is much funnier than the first. The first one is humorous, but the second one is just plain out silly and a good time. Lots of great extras on this set. I chased this set for a long time, and I looked at what buying the movies would cost individually, you know, and just tried to make a reasonable price in my head about what I would be willing to spend. And that number was $60. I wanted to buy it for $60. And finally, someone dropped it on eBay for that, and I just snapped it up. All right, guys, so there you have it. my complete Arrow video collection. So it's a lot by some standards, not much by others. There's slipcovers and bonus feature, or slipcovers and special editions. That's it. There they all are. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think I'm missing. Let me know what you think about the 2 films I mentioned that are on the bubble, of whether they get to stay or go. Let me know your thoughts. Until next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf. Share it with your friends and family. Remind them why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV. Stay tuned for Act 2 of this complete collection series. The next one is going to be Steelbooks.